Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go.
Welcome back, traders. How are we doing, guys?
I'll wake up to a
God
little
bless
bit of
each and
drool.
every
I'm
single
up
one of
to
you
the
guys.
feel like
Welcome
it's
in to the best technical analysis channel on AMC, GameStop, and the broader small cap index, baby. And today we're going to be starting with GameStop, AMC, and taking a little peeky weeky at some DD, right? Due diligence. Some stuff came out on GameStop after hours or right before market close, in which GameStop provided fiscal year 26 outlook. We're going to go over this, explain why it's important, and then go over the AMC chart. Looking at this GameStop post here from Wolf of My Street. This guy's an absolute G. Go follow him if you haven't. GameStop provides fiscal year 26 outlook. Traders, GameStop currently expects to generate adjusted EBITDA in excess of $600 million. So in case you guys do not know what EBITDA means, quick little fact check for you guys. EBITDA is your profit or your revenue that you pull into the stock or into the company before you hit any debt, tax, or kind of like withdrawals, right? Before you hit any company jargon from the P&L. So that's just like your gross, right? So 600 million compared to adjusted EBITDA of 345. That's almost freaking double, which is insane when you look at the already amazing trajectory that you've been on with GameStop and improving the bottom line. This is insane, right? That is, let's just take this in, right? That is insane. And then says GameStop's leadership team remains focused on advancing the proposed acquisition of eBay. I don't know why it's in quotes. Additional materials regarding the proposed transactions are forthcoming. 8K filing. So this is huge, right? When you look at the fact that Ryan Cohen is absolutely on a freaking manhunt for this eBay leadership team or the eBay. I forget what he calls them. He calls them dummies, right? But he is on an absolute tear. I believe in GameStop in the long term. Just you're looking at a little bit more sideways price action until you see a definite outcome on that situation. But before we jump into the AMC charts, up 14% today, guys. Make sure to slap the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell, right? Because we post every single day. We've been on about a 10 to 12 day streak. So let's get into it, guys. So GameStop, or freaking AMC, guys, seeing a amazing day from your touch of bullish divergence, hidden bullish divergence, up 27.8% off of that touch that we called, which was none other than this flat support here in this double bottom, and then this much steeper lower low on the RSI. So that is a textbook situation for hidden bullish divergence. And so hopefully you guys are kind of seeing how that's strongly playing out on the stock right now. But one thing I said I didn't want to see, and someone mentioned this in the Discord today, and that is, traders, that you are freaking perfectly at the wick of 222. This is terrifying to me, guys, and let me explain why, right? Look at the top here. That's 222. What was your top at the height of that end of day close on high volume? 7% 4-hour candle closed at 222 or had the wick of 222. If you capitulate from here and you reject the gap, which the high is 224, right? If you fail to enter into this gap on the daily time frame, that is your worst case scenario. And that's something that I did not expect to see so fast on AMC. But that is a textbook head and shoulders, right? Shoulder, head. And now you've made that right shoulder, in which if you fail to hold this, you can expect to potentially see this thing knife from the neckline, right, downwards, and that brings you down to 105. Now, in doing so, right, you would see probably a more drawn-out distributive look, but you would most likely fill the two gaps you have on the 4-hour time frame, currently sitting at 139 and then 1 12, guys. Those two stubborn gaps are what's in the way right now of this thing absolutely just turning the other direction. But let's talk about the good scenario, right? Because this thing looked absolutely amazing today. You're almost back above the midline on the RSI, and you're going to be challenging the RSI band most likely tomorrow, right? Or, God, Monday. Great Friday close. Most likely Monday, you will be challenging the mid band and this RSI band, which is a great look on the 4-hour chart. You had a very, very strong daily close on more volume, mind you, and you're finding that bounce off of the mid band on the freaking daily, right? So good sign there. You made a bullish engulfing candlestick, and you're about to enter your gap. The bad news, traders, is if you fail this, you're going down to 104, 105, whatever we said. Good news is you are literally 2 pennies away from invalidating this head and shoulders, right? If you come into this gap, it is likely, just like you came down, you're going to go up just as fast to fill that gap. That's how price action usually works here on these gap fills. And if you come right back up, this thing is right back in the midst, right? It's like you just ripped the Band-Aid and you're right back at it, traders. On the daily time frame for AMC, let's pull it up. You can see this very, very obvious downtrend being broken today. And you saw boom, boom candles, right? The 9-day on the 4-hour shot through the 50. You saw a nice move off of that. You rejected the 200 on the 1 hour, sorry. And you're starting to flag out here, which looks pretty nice on the shorter time frames, right? The wick of 222. And then since that, you're kind of building this more flag pattern here. So if you're able to break out of this on Monday morning, guys, I expect some boomies, right? I expect some freaking boom boom candles on AMC. Now, if you're not, well, that would suck, of course. Technically, the profit target from that is around that 245 area, which we know is going to be stark resistance. Very, very stubborn resistance. On the weekly time frame, you close still a bullish engulfing, guys, but much, much better than it would have been had you closed all the way down here, right? Around 170. Potentially, you can come back up on the daily time frame. Let's get back over there. And let's just take a quick little peeky weeky and see, guys, that you are above the 200. You're above the 50. You wicked off of it perfectly today, and you're slightly below the 9-day. So this is a great close by AMC on the daily time frame, outperforming the broader market, guys. Closing below the 9 is not surprising in the least, but you need to see volume push back up, right, Monday morning and continue this 1, 2, 3, 4 days potentially of stair-stepping higher volume. If you want to see this thing not only break the 9-day daily EMA, currently sitting at 220, guys. So that's a big development on Monday, right? Get back above 220. This thing looks freaking squeezy. But you're back above not only the 50, but the 200, guys. And that is what we were speaking for the longest time. Hold above the 200 with strength. And not only have you bounced above it once, lost it, bounced above it twice, lost it, you're now bouncing above it for the 3rd time, traders. You have not done that in AMC's history. You've just not done it, right? Look at here, stark rejection, stark rejection, stark rejection, stark rejection. Break above, fail to hold, fail to get it back above the 50, right? So you couldn't even challenge the 200 one more time. You have not done this kind of price action, traders. Look at the rejection there, right? You have not done this kind of price action since 2020, guys. And when I say I am the most bullish I have been on the small cap stocks since back then, I freaking mean it, guys. You're seeing some kind of like can't stop, won't stop momentum in which you're seeing these things challenge and bounce above the 200. AMC particularly is showing a little bit of strength here, and I really, really like it. But failure to hold 222 means capitulation, right? You need to see this thing get back above 222, guys. I think that's going to be the freaking title of the video, right? Nothing is more important or pressing than that at the moment. On the quarterly time frame, right? We are now just mere days away, right? Monday, I believe. Monday, Tuesday are the last 2 trading days of the month on the freaking quarter, guys. This is going to make or break what you do on AMC in the next 3 months, right? Looking at this bullish engulfing on the quarterly time frame, you are seeing the most volume by far. It's not even close since all the way back in 2024. That is very, very good, guys. As you see a larger breakout from this accumulative structure, guys. I'd like to see you break, right? We talked about the falling wedge on the stock. very, very prevalent still. And you have that resistance right around 318, guys. Getting back above, what was it? 222, filling the gap, puts you on the right trajectory. But traders, you are about to get, in about 2 trading days, the first quarterly cross on the MACD for the first time since back in 2020. This looks fantastic. So, right, when we're in such capitulation, in such doubt, the market makers are slapping you down silly. Just take a zoom out and look how genuinely awesome the quarterly time frame is. Seeing these kinds of candles is a stretch, right? It might take more time, but if you're ever going to do it, you're starting to see the freaking stars align here. The technical profit target of this falling wedge is the length of the falling wedge. Do we get there? I don't know, right? I'm just here for the freaking community, the unity, and to have fun. But one thing is for sure, the macro on AMC looks freaking phenomenal right now. And I have not said that in a very long time, right? Your monthly chart, you are absolutely booming up 25% and huge volume. 1 billion shares traded this month alone. More than the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. More than the last 2 years in price action traders this month alone. That is huge, right? When you want to see this thing break huge technical resistance, it's going to come with volume, and you're getting it right now, right? So you need to see quarterly MACD cross happen, and for this to continue to stair step higher if you want to see those kinds of squeezes and macro moves occur. Now, beyond the daily time frame on AMC for the 4-hour or for the RSI, let's look at the weekly, because you did take a freaking ride up to the bull zone, very nearly got into it, rejected it, and now you're coming to a critical point in the stock's history, right? Rejecting the bull zone is not great, right? But you're coming into the midline on the RSI, as well as your ever so fast rising RSI band. Bouncing off of this, traders, would be the most bullish scenario, just like you got back here, right? Break above it, bounce off of it in April of 2025. That's what you did here. Broke above it, retested it, and then you shot up freaking 80%, right? You have the opportunity to do that here. And I'm watching, because failure to hold the midline and the RSI would be significantly bearish in the short-term time frame. Now, you're still trading above our resistance here, or previous support, new resistance, and now new support. So even if you fall back, right, we were talking about a potential bounce right around 150 to 160, because not only do you have this new support, right, that you've broken back into, but you have this very beautiful and valid uptrend that you've bounced. Nothing really, just 110% and 135%. So still looking very, very strong regardless of this recent pullback. I think that's all we got on AMC, guys. So like we said, slap the like button, slap the subscribe button, and let's get into GameStop. Guys, GameStop seeing a bullish engulfing on the daily time frame. Now, you have more volume than the previous, still relatively low volume, right? But what we did here was textbook bullish, guys. In case you guys missed it, we talked about this falling wedge on GameStop. Falling wedges, typically, you'll see a breakout and then a retest. You saw that perfectly, and then a bullish engulfing off of the news, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, stupid price action. On the weekly time frame, you're starting, or you printed a weekly hammer candle. It looks great. And you're starting to get the weekly MACD to curl just a little bit, right? Ever so slightly. The bearish momentum is slowing. And if you want to see this thing see a macro breakout, you want to see this weekly MACD cross, right? Look at the last, I don't know, like 4 times you've gotten it, right? We'll draw vertical trend lines. Right here, next month or next week was 9%, followed by 3 and then 4. The next time you get it is... This was January. Next time you had it was right here, right? You had a 10% followed by a 4% and a 1% and then a blow off top. And then that was in September. And then there's this one right here. This one you saw 0.5%, 3%, 16%, and then blow off top. So just the last 3 times alone, traders, if you get this weekly MACD cross, it has been consistent on GameStop. There's a lot of resistance, like we talked about, right around that 2250 area, which you're currently trading into in the after hours. Expect some resistance from 2221 at the 9-day weekly EMA. Let's see. This thing still looks beautiful. You're seeing a perfect bounce, like we said, off of that breakout, baby. So I like the stock. I like GME. I like Ryan Cohen. I like Rowan Kitty. I think this thing has a great future ahead of it, and it's in a freaking phenomenal area. Not a financial advisor, but we did call potentially purchasing at $21 to $20. Now, we talked about GameStop. Let's talk about on the RSI and trading view for GME, because there's a much bigger picture here on the stock that I want to make sure I outline for you guys. Now, you crossed above the daily RSI band. That looks phenomenal. You've made multiple touches of bullish divergence, right? Stock was going flat or down, and you saw a higher low and then another higher low on the RSI. As you cross above the mid band, that looks freaking phenomenal. Expect some boom boom candles next week if you can cross above the midline. You saw a perfect rejection here, June 10th of 2026. So getting back above that would be the first time you've done it since May, guys, when you saw a 2% and then a 4% candle. So I expect next week to be great if you can just do that on GME. On the monthly time frame, this has been our freaking battle of a lifetime. But we've talked about this bullish freaking pennant, guys, this bull flag on GME, potentially giving you the risk to reward that is phenomenal, right? Look at this freaking price target. If you break from this bull flag, let's say something crazy happens and you break from this bad boy, $120, right? That is your previous all-time high, and that would technically be your profit target. Now, whether or not that happens, you have a lot of resistance at 28. You have a lot of resistance at 40. Above those two things, I think you go to 72 at that gap fill on the daily like we've talked about previously. All right, traders, let's get into the GME warrants. Stay with me. Stay with me. GME warrants for my boy Only in Paradise. So, boom, right? Closing the week with a doji on the weekly time frame, much better than where you were previously, seeing a 9% day on the day and up 2% in the after hours. Looks phenomenal. Much, much better as you get a bounce off of this falling broadening wedge. Now, if you're to break this from the lows here, you're 43% away from the high of this, and then probably 43% away from $5, right? That's your technical profit target on this falling broadening wedge. So it's looking like the GME warrants, if you can see this hold with a volume next week to push higher, just like GameStop, it's likely, in my opinion, that you see this freaking falling broadening wedge play out. That would be significant, guys. Absolutely significant. As you could potentially see this swing come all the way up to $5. Now, there's a lot of resistance like we talked about. This previous uptrend, you'll expect to slap right around $3.60 to $4. That is going to be stubborn, as you've already retested it multiple times, right? If you go to the daily time frame, as soon as you lost this uptrend, you retested it once, twice, 3 times, and that 4th time absolutely slapped you down 5.72%, guys. So expect that to be heavy resistance, but I love what I'm seeing from the GME warrants. The daily MACD crossing up potentially next week, and the volume stepping up just a little bit, right? Just a tad. IWM potentially seeing a beautiful day off of the daily EMA, 9-day EMA. And look at the volume, right? Look at this volume on this push-up. Freaking way more significant than the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of trading. And you're right there, guys. Not 299.83. You are right freaking there. So our thesis of $300 has come true, but I need to see, or I want to see, just for the community, right? For the apes, I want to see this thing absolutely smash through 300 and see some volume come in here. As you can see, this thing push much higher up to 312. Now you have multiple touches of bearish divergence that you have not played out yet. And you do kind of have, right, this uptrending resistance within this channel that you would have to break from first, right? You've pretty much tapped it perfectly here. So even if you pull back to 288, right, that's not the end of the world. And that would probably pull back the rest of the small caps. So just be aware of that going into next week. It looks good though. And I'm freaking jacked, guys. I'm bullish. So all that aside to say, God bless you and your families, traders. Hope you're having a stand up Freaky Friday. And as always, much love. Subscribe, like, do all the things to push the algorithm towards AMC and this channel, guys. We're upwards of 2,000 subscribers, and we're on our way to many more. So I'll see you in the next video, guys. Remember, the best is yet to come. Let's freaking go.